Superboy. From Korea. Yep. Where's the mushrooms? Can't enter pipes. You can't run. You can't get anything. You can't do anything. I have 4 coin, and this is for the MSX. How the fuck am I gonna corrupt it? This game is already corrupted. It's an abomination from fucking Satan. You can't go backwards. Listen to the music. Even the music is like ripped off derp shit. Where's the piranha plants? Oh my god. Oh Jesus. The controls are so shitty. There's no run button. There's no mushrooms. Turtle. Turtle's just... Oh dear. When you stop moving, it takes Mario a second. Like, watch. I stopped. He's gotta readjust, and it's just terrible and awful. I'm gonna complete the first world, guys. It's happening. You're witnessing it. I'm gonna do something that no Korean has ever done. We go into World 1-4. Oh man. Where's the dungeon music? What killed me? Nothing killed me. Oh man, I gotta make it to this boss. What are you doing, Mario? Or Superboy, I'm sorry, Superboy. I wonder if there is a save state. Quick save state. Yeah, alright, there's a save state. That one's bullshit. I'm not game over it. Oh wait, where'd the... I did a quick save. I did a quick save! Oh. I was about to smack a bitch. Someone was gonna get shot. Bowser? Oh my god. What the fuck was that? Okay. I have no choice. How did that happen? How did that didn't look like it was gonna happen. Alright, so there's no death enemy. Sorry, nothing. What? Wait, what? I didn't press any buttons. I didn't press any buttons. It just went sorry, nothing for like 2 seconds, and then it went away. Oh my god. Oh wait, mushroom. There were no mushrooms in the first level. Fish? You get out of here, fish. Get the fuck out of here. Fish! I'm small now. I'm small. Oh, I'm so fucked. You can barely even control this shit.
All right.
I can't think of a better topic to start the video than with one that looks so weird you'd have no idea what it is you were even looking at without getting a description of what's going on. Not only that, but its existence reminds me pretty heavily of A Day with SpongeBob, for the fact that it's the strangeness of the cover that really pulls you in. If it hadn't been for goofing around late at night in a live stream once, then I probably never would have come across it. So you can thank my live stream audience from that night for why you're looking at this now. Gaze upon the lovely primitive CGI, confusion about what's even happening in this image, and foreign language on top, creating this topic. It's called Tales in Mushroom Village, a 2009 CGI animated series that was produced in China and animated by Anhui Lister 3D Animation. When I first saw the image of this show on stream, I really had no idea what I was even looking at, unsure of what was going on or who the characters were even supposed to be. My first thought was that they were kids and this was supposed to be some kind of preschool show, but then I noticed that one of them had a tail, so maybe they were supposed to be animals and just rendered really poorly. Well, apparently, if we take a closer look at a different image from the show, it becomes a little more clear what it's about. The series is indeed about anthropomorphic animals who live in a village called Mushroom Village that the title mentions, with clear depictions of mushrooms in the background here. According to the Lost Media Wiki article, the series centers on this squirrel character named Now Now, who moves to the Mushroom Village and has to fit in with his surroundings. And, well, despite its obscurity, there are some pieces of content from it that you can find online. Firstly is a pretty long trailer that can be found on YouTube, showing a variety of different clips from the series, and giving us an idea of what the show was really like. Here, we can see Now Now quite well, along with several other details not seen in the promotional images. While the majority of the scenes do look awkward, and feel like something you'd find on a low-budget DVD in the bargain bin, a few of them don't make the characters look as unsettling as they do in the images. There's even a funny cameo that shows the King of Fighters game being played on one of the characters' laptops. However, this is not all the content that's available online. This second promotional image that we looked at is actually the cover of a DVD release it had, with Chinese and English subtitles, which seems to have been uploaded in full to YouTube, giving us the most extensive look at the series so far, and reveals even more secrets about it, like how the background soundtrack isn't original and instead uses remixed versions of Kokiri Forest from Zelda Ocarina of Time. However, this is mostly all we've ever seen of the show, and information about its production and release is even scarcer than the content shown here. Pages discussing Tales in Mushroom Village are almost non-existent, and even what has been found is in Chinese and limited in what it talks about. The series had a total of 100 episodes made for it, all with a runtime of 20 minutes each, but currently, only 10 of those 100 were the ones that were released on DVD, and all the others have not been. It's not even known which network in China broadcast the series to begin with, so that's a pretty big dead end there as well. There's also a mention that the show was licensed to air in the United Arab Emirates, so it seems to have actually been shown outside of China, but even so, the animation company company who made it seems to have gone out of business, and their website is gone as well. So the specific details of this and where to look for more episodes might never be known. I hope you guys are as excited for this next topic as I am, because never did I think I'd get to talk about Nickelodeon in a video like this. It feels like the more time I spend looking into all Nickelodeon content, the more fascinating that content becomes, and it always seems to be more surprising than anything Cartoon Network or Disney Channel were doing at the time. Now, this topic is probably nothing that you're expecting it to be. It's not some weird SpongeBob commercial or Lost Kids show, but it's actually an entire blog. An entire international Nickelodeon blog that's almost completely lost. If you've looked closely at Nickelodeon Lost Media before, you've probably heard of Nickelodeon Japan, an official TV channel adaptation that ran for a decade or more. But I'm sure you never expected to find out that Nickelodeon also had an official Chinese counterpart as well, and it was called Haha Nick. Unlike Nickelodeon Japan, however, this wasn't its own channel, but rather a block of shows that aired on SMG children's channels. When I first came across this topic, I thought it was some kind of unlicensed adaptation that nobody at Nickelodeon was actually connected to. However, that's not the case, and it was a joint venture between Nick and SMG. Animation World Network reported on this in a 2005 article with MTV Network's vice chairman, Bill Rohde, who stated that launching an MTV brand service with China's leading mobile company and premiering the first content produced through our Haha Nick joint venture with SMG are strategically significant developments for MTV's and Nickelodeon's positions in China. China has the creative talent to become one of the world's leading animation hubs, and Haha Nick is tapping into the local industry to produce high-quality programming that can be showcased in China and around the world. The blog premiered on May 1st, 2005 to 3.5 million households and was aired twice a day, with a morning slot from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and an evening slot from 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., of which both contained quite an interesting variety of shows. Before Haha Nick started airing, CatDog and the Wild Thornberrys were already airing separately from the block, so a whole new variety of content was adapted, which includes The Fairly OddParents, Oobi, Blue's Clues, Eureka's Castle, Keenan and Kel, and Chalk Zone, all receiving Mandarin dubs. The block itself also contained some original content, like the Haha Nick Weekend Play, which was hosted in the studio, and Sonic, which highlighted lifestyle in Shanghai. In addition to this content, the hosts also introduced each show before it aired, with special animation and bumpers. However, what's unfortunate about the entire Haha Nick topic is how short-lived the block was, leading to the majority of its content being lost. Neither of the two original shows have resurfaced in episode form, or any of the special animations, but there is a good amount of content from the block that has shown up. Recently, YouTube user Fee uploaded a collection of bumpers and promos that they got using a Wayback Machine download tool, which searches across archived websites. While these uploads don't give us too much content from the hosts themselves, one of these promos uses clips from the lost Mandarin dubs of CatDog and Chalk Zone, so we can hear what they sound like, in addition to the existence of a red SpongeBob-looking mascot who seems to be a recurring character in the bumpers. In addition to this new collection are a couple of older commercials that have been on the wiki for a while too. There have also been a lot of archives from the Haha Nick website, including Oobi and Chalk Zone flash games that also use voice actors from the Mandarin dubs. Interestingly, there's also another screenshot of the Pick-Boy character who appears, though this time with different clothing compared to the one that looks more similar to the US design. Unfortunately, Haha Nick only lasted 2 years in China, being cancelled in October 2007, which makes finding this content even more difficult that it was from so long ago. It also doesn't seem like the mention of creating original animation programs in China ever got off the ground, as only existing shows were localized and nothing new was created from what we've seen. But there are several archived interviews from around the block's earlier years that stated ratings were reportedly very good, so maybe more of this content was saved somewhere. Now it's time to look at a weird piece of Korean lost media that comes from the larger rabbit hole of kaiju films, and the interest that people have from the older and more obscure adaptation of the genre. I don't think I've ever talked about kaiju or Godzilla content in my videos before. But one of the more popular lost topics that I'm familiar with from this category is Tokyo 1960. This is a film from the Philippines that was released on December 27, 1957, and is quite an interesting topic for the mystery that surrounds it, because nobody is really sure what exactly it's supposed to be. The first time this film was mentioned was in 2008, when a user posted about it on a blog discussing 3 atomic monster movies of the 1950s. Eventually, this information made its way to the Classic Horror Film Board forums, which is where the majority of new information about it was gained. But to this day, the movie itself remains lost, and nobody is certain on what kind of content it contains. Some claims state that the movie is simply a redub or re-edit of the original Godzilla, but some say it's a completely different film creation altogether. It's also been claimed that the movie saw an international release under the title of Godzilla's Fury, and that Toho Films was in on the collaboration, but neither of these claims can be confirmed either. But the topic for this segment is not actually about Godzilla, and instead, Bulgasari, based on a Korean legendary creature. This giant monster movie started production in 1961 and released to Korean theaters in December 1962. However, what really makes this topic interesting is the fact that it was so negatively received upon release. Critics pointed out that the film had very poor production values in terms of acting talent and special effects, though it was the first Korean film to attempt features like that. Additionally, it was released at a time when most Koreans believed that only historical films were worth watching, so by default, Bulgasari was seen as childish. In fact, one of these negative reviews has even been archived, and in it contains an image taken from the movie, which is one of the only images to still exist today from it. It seems that because the film was not well liked when it released, it went missing shortly after, and has been missing ever since. Bulgasari is one of the most wanted pieces of kaiju lost media, and aside from this one screenshot, a couple other movie posters and advertising materials have resurfaced, but no clips or any other visuals. And most of the ones that get passed around online come from the 1985 remake with a slightly different title, named Bulgasari, and should not be confused with the original from 1962. It's also been stated that the Korean Film Archive owns a screenplay of the film in their collection, but it's not available to be viewed by the public. There's also another document in their archive from 1963, 1 year after the film's release, that alludes to the fact that a print of the film was made for screenings in North Korea, but it's not known if this print was ever made or saw use in theaters at all. Interestingly, this isn't even the only lost Korean kaiju film that went down in infamy, as another one from a few years later, called Great Monster Yongari, is pretty infamous too. It was disliked when it first came out, but still got a US release, though that dub has been found in full. Only the original has lost media from it, 6 minutes of extra content that was cut from the Korean release, which is partially what makes topics like this so interesting. They're so old and weren't documented well at all, we really only have word of mouth to go off of, and the likelihood of them ever resurfacing is very slim. Lost commercials and interstitials seem to be a highly debated topic within the lost media community right now, for the fact that some people feel like there's too much of an emphasis on trying to find them for little reward. While I can see how they don't necessarily hold up compared to some bigger topics, I think it's for the fact that they're usually weird and obscure that draws people in, on top of the fact that they often come from the channels we watch growing up. So this time, we're heading back to Nickelodeon, and to another international version of it, to find what might be one of the strangest pieces of lost Nick content to ever exist. There's been interest in some international short series from Nick, like A Very Aggressive Vegetable from Australia, which just had its last short found recently. And then you have topics like this, and nothing from has resurfaced. This is called The Hopkins, and unlike your usual cartoons about families that are completely fictional, this one was made a bit differently. In early 2005, Nickelodeon Australia ran a contest titled Search for the Nicktoon Family, in which the winner would be animated into a Nicktoon. There are a couple articles you can find talking about this contest, where marketing director David Reyes says, "We really wanted to start to define what family really means to Australia in 2005, and then interviews one of the families who entered the contest, comparing the thought of winning to being the next Simpsons. Apparently the contest received 5,000 entries, and the Hopkins family of none of these shorts are available online, and there aren't even any screenshots from them that can be seen. The only visuals that exist is the series logo and artwork showing the entire family that was archived. In fact, the Lost Media Wiki article has a chart that shows when the first short premiered, which is only known because it was also archived from its schedule, so it's not known when any of the other ones aired. A couple other credits for the series have been found too, including an animator that claimed it used both 2D and 3D animation, as well as a voice actor, which suggests that the family themselves didn't actually voice their own characters. I wonder if they created new stories for the shorts, or if they based them on real ones that the Hopkins family told them. It's such a weird topic that as a fan of Nickelodeon Lost Media, I would definitely be happy to get at least one of these found, to see what the animation style and plot was really like. Let's go back to the country we started the video in for the final topic we'll be discussing. But unlike Tales of Mushroom Village, where content is hard to find and there's really nobody behind the search, this topic has been heavily documented and researched, resulting in quite a bit of lost content being found from it. In fact, if there was ever a visual style that would remind me of the old topics people used to search for in the early days of the Lost Media community, this one would be it. It's the search for a TV show called Wanju Jijua, or Toy House in English, another CGI Chinese series that aired on CCTV in 1998, featuring anthropomorphic household objects in a house called Toy House, which is where the series gets its name from. This was one of the earliest CGI shows made in China, and even from the screenshots alone, without having seen any of its animation, that early era of CGI is pretty clear. But for as long as this series has been around, it remained in obscurity for over a decade, with nothing from it, not even a screenshot, having been made available online. This series was also not released onto home media or re-aired, which made getting content from it especially difficult. And it wasn't until Chinese internet users started the search in 2011 that more information about it was found. It really does seem like the largeness of the search was exclusively contained in China, so perhaps we can call this the first big international lost media search. In 2011, the Toy House community was officially formed on a Chinese forum site, where users discussed their memories of the show and began to realize that none of its content was available online. This in itself led to some people believing that the show didn't really exist at all, and it was some kind of false memory, as is common when no visuals can be found for a topic that is claimed to be lost. But eventually, recreation drawings of the characters were shared to give everyone an idea of what the show looked like, including one user who even created a 3D model of the box character. But the first form of proof that the show did exist wouldn't be in the form of a screenshot or character art, but rather an archived page from CCTV's website in 2006 that asked viewers to rank their top 10 favorite shows from a list of 180 series, where Toy House was listed and then confirmed to exist. The community was fully on board that the show was real, and whichever was made to find crew members who worked on it. This eventually led to the discovery of Toy House's producer and scriptwriter in January 2015. And while neither of them had any content on the show, it was mentioned for the first time that the series is between 39 and 52 episodes, though the total was still not confirmed back then. In fact, it wouldn't be for a few more years until April 2019 when the first big lead would appear in the form of a listing for 4 episode files of the series from a reputable media archivist in China. The Toy House group pulled their funds together to purchase the materials, and the deal went through, eventually leading to the community getting the episodes. The episode titles include Blind Old Box, Movie Star, Weight Loss and Fitness, and Return of the Terracotta Army. 8 years after the search began, the community finally had 4 episodes from the show, but it didn't end there, as shortly after these episodes were uploaded, another user posted a screenshot from a 5th episode and claimed that their friend was a VHS collector and had recorded it from when it was airing on TV in the late 90s or early 2000s. While it took another 2 years for this deal to occur, eventually the collector and the Toy House community made a deal to acquire the 5th episode, titled Energy Crisis, and currently, all 5 episodes are up and available to view online. But when it comes to the amount of content still missing, there's there's quite a lot of it. It was discovered in an article from a computer magazine that Toy House was produced in 1993 and had a total of 39 episodes made for it. It's been rumored that the VHS collector who sold the community the Energy Crisis tape is in possession of every episode of the series, according to another user from the group who talked to them. But it seems like there's no interest to release them if he does actually have more. There was also a different user that claimed 10 beta tapes existed in addition to the 39 main episodes that were known to be produced, and also that the same user owned all the beta tapes. But when questioned where that information came from or how they knew about it, there was no response. The community is unsure if there really are beta tapes that exist, but the user himself who claimed it was said to be a mysterious person anyway. Finally, a third rumor was debunked after a claim mentioned that recordings were so rare as a result of the master tapes being destroyed in a fire. What this is actually referring to was a fire that took place at a cultural center adjacent to the CCTV building, so none of their content was actually harmed. But even if there was a fire there, the company keeps their resources in a separate warehouse anyway, so they wouldn't have been damaged. It's really cool to see people being able to recover media that is personal to them, so far outside of our lost media community. Even though the Toy House search took place in China, it shares a lot of similarities to the kinds of lost media searches that we have here, and hopefully, more of this kind of content can be found too, just like all the well-known topics that the community searches for. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out some of my other lost media videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Finn.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the first really cool cheat code or gaming rumor that you heard about, tried, and then discovered that it actually worked? For me, it was finding out that Luigi was playable in New Super Mario Bros. DS in one of those old cheat code books that I completely forgot existed. You could always find a few of these at the Scholastic Book Fair back in elementary school, and everyone always seemed to gravitate towards them for the fact that it was an official source of information, while the kids on the playground were definitely not. For as many real secrets in video games that have been uncovered, there are also a large amount that weren't true, and I've talked about a lot of them on the channel before. But today I'd like to go a little deeper and check out some lesser known ones, as well as some general rumors too, with the first topic being one that is so laughable looking back. I can't believe I actually fell for it when I first saw it. But I guess it was several years ago, before getting into lost media and extensively researching topics, so I often took information at face value. If you had visited my blog back in the day, you might have come across a post where I discussed a variety of beta and early content from some Nintendo games, including the Purple Yoshi tech demo, which I've talked about before. While we still don't have a clear answer on what it's supposed to be, I actually did find IGN's correspondent who allegedly reported on this, but I haven't heard anything back from him about it. However, if you scroll down further in the post, you'll come across a different screenshot, this one of Samus and an enemy claiming to be from the cancelled Metroid 64 game. Metroid 64 in itself was one of those rumored games that everyone claimed to have knowledge of back then, but no one really knew about. And it's probably for reasons like that how fake information got passed around in the first place. In my post, I talked about how amazed I was at finding this, having come upon an article for it on the Metroid database, so I said that it must be real. The article from their site discussed this screenshot that was allegedly taken from an issue of Nintendo Dream magazine, and even looks like it was running on a TV, since it's not a direct capture. It goes on to say that Shigeru Miyamoto claimed the game was in development because of the success of Super Metroid, but that it never saw the light of day because the team working on Metroid 64 had other projects to take care of and development came too late with the GameCube's launch. It's also mentioned that lead developer Toru Osawa said in the rumored article that came from Nintendo Dream, "We'd had Samus running in a cave, there was space jump and wall jumping, all the abilities from Super Metroid. I thought we had really caught on to the gameplay. If this had been posted nowadays, or if I had come across it with no other websites having talked about it, or had this screenshot, I definitely would have sourced that copy of the magazine where it came from to check and see if it's actually there. But this time there's no checking necessary, because unfortunately this interview doesn't exist. There is no gameplay of Samus running through a cave, and the game never even entered development. What we're looking at in this post is an April Fool's Day joke that was posted to the Metroid database, and something that I didn't realize for years after first having come across it. I mentioned later in my post that some other websites claimed the lead developer didn't actually know how Samus should be controlled, which is true. Yoshio Sakamoto has been interviewed and stated before that he couldn't figure out a good way to move Samus around in a Nintendo 64 game, and that it was too early for him to make 3D Metroid games at the time. While Metroid 64 was mentioned a couple times in different gaming magazines, there is no content from it that actually exists. But there is a small mystery connected to the game itself. According to Yoshio Sakamoto from the same interview, Nintendo had asked a different company to develop the game instead, but they turned it down, and as of now, it's not known which company was offered the project. On the topic of fake content being made to fool people, video game magazines were notorious for this practice back in the day, and I've heard that a lot of times, the intention wasn't even in good fun, but rather to meet deadlines and basically keep the news flowing. Electronic Gaming Monthly was particularly infamous for this, and it's particularly clear with Super Kid Icarus, a game that never existed and was only reported on to get the fans hopeful that the game would eventually come out. EGM has also done a lot of Zelda hoaxes over the years too, like how they wrote an article in their April 2005 issue that claimed you could get a new version of